Let me tell you something about most product brands. If I covered up your logo, your customers honestly couldn't tell you apart from your competitors. And when nothing about you stands out, the only thing left to compete is on price. That's a race to the bottom, and it's where most brands quietly disappear. But every once in a while, I come across a founder who figured out the way around it, and that's exactly who's sitting with me today. Reese De Luca launched Skincare for Weirdos at the end of 2023 in one of the most crowded categories out there, right up against giants like Starface and Hero. And instead of trying to outspend them, he built something they cannot copy. A brand with a real personality, one his customers treat like a club they belong to. And the wildest part, he built it all from the word people used to tease him as a kid. What I love about the story is that it's not luck, it's a playbook. And today, Reese is going to show you exactly how he did it. So if you're building a product brand, this is the one to stick around for. Reese, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that we're finally doing this.
Yeah.
This is, again, the magic of social media and Instagram. This is where we met, and then we sort of message each other all the time since months and months. Skincare for Weirdos.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Yes, you started with pimple patches. And there's a lot of big brands who do that with stars and cute smiley faces and all of that. Why did you think that I'm going to start my first hero product to be, pimple patches?
So, I mean, when I did launch 3 years ago, really the only major competitor was Starface. It was a US brand. And unbeknownst to most people, majority of their stars are actually zero ingredient. It's just a hydrocolloid patch, which does help you from, stop you from picking your face, but it doesn't actually do anything to help your pimple heal, and I was in South Korea and I knew I wanted to start my own project again. And I saw everyone wearing pimple patches and I thought, oh, I think I could bring a different version of this to the market that actually had effective ingredients and look cute, but would actually do something behind the scenes. So it was kind of an easy entry for me to test the market, test my idea without having to launch a full collection, lots of different packaging. So it was kind of an easy way for me to start and test to see if this is something that was valid and if I could actually turn this into a brand. And here we are 3 years later.
It became a brand.
It became a brand, yeah.
You have a very special brand identity. And it's sort of your moat, let's say, that differentiates you from every other brand that's in the market. It's skincare for weirdos, the Weirdoverse, and all of these cute things that you see here on the bag. How did you, tell me more about this story. Why is it Weirdos? What's with the Weirdoverse? What's going on there?
Well, actually, a little behind the scenes is the original name was Patchy, Patchi.
Okay.
Because my original product was a patch, and right away I was like, oh, is this going to pigeonhole me into just being a patch brand? And I was like, I really do see a future for it. Obviously, I'm launching with a patch and it might just end there, but I see that there's potential for more. And, growing up, I was a little bit different. I was a weirdo, both from just being an eccentric person, but also growing up LGBTQ in the 90s. So I just wanted to take the power back from that word. And I really think that being different is beautiful. Who wants to be the same like everyone else? And I wanted to empower people to embrace their individuality. And I really wanted to also promote all forms of beauty, because a lot of times you open magazines and everybody looks the same, or Instagram, everyone's perfect. And I want people to be proud of being different and to celebrate that. So that's kind of where Skincare for Weirdos came from.
So were you called Weirdo?
Yeah, I was called Weirdo among with other words, I didn't, sometimes you would close yourself up because you didn't want other people to judge you, and now as you get older, you're like, F that, I'm going to be who I am. And I really want people to feel that same way and never to dim your light because you're a little bit different or eccentric or whatever. And I think just embracing that is beautiful.
I love the story. It's you took something that could have traumatized you, but you turned it into more of a positive thing that's happening in your life.
And it surprisingly connects with a lot of people when I'm doing like my markets, my pop-ups. Like there's people who are like in their 80s will walk by and they'll be like, skincare for weirdos. I'm a weirdo. And then like, like, and I'm really surprised, honestly, how people of all ages seem to connect with that. Even if they don't necessarily stop to look at the product, they see the name and they're like, oh my God, I'm a weirdo too. And I'm like, yeah, Weirdoverse, you know? So somehow I think everybody is a little bit of a weirdo. And this is like, where they see that and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm a weirdo too. And it's just like, it's empowering, you know, to know that there's like lots of like hidden weirdos out there.
Is there a lot of people who belong to the Weirdoverse?
I think everybody belongs to the Weirdoverse because it's like, I think we're made for everyone. Like we're gender free and it's just like everybody has skin. So, you know what I mean? Like, so really we are made for everyone. And I think that everybody has that little weirdness inside and we all have our own little things. And this is like the signal to say, you know what? Let it free.
When you said everybody has skin and it's gender free, I just thought of something because there's a lot of skincare brands who have like a special men's line and special women's line. I don't know if it's any different. I don't know if there's difference in the skin texture or something. So tell me more about that.
Like,
do you know anything about
it?
I
mean, for me, most of it is marketing. You know, they call something like the pink tax where they'll make something pink and they'll charge it more for women. In general, people have the same skin, right? Of course, a man might have like a thicker skin or they have facial hair to deal with. But in general, everybody needs the same ingredients for your skin. So I think a lot of it is just marketing. And because like some men have very fragile egos and don't want to use something that a woman uses. They don't want to use something with their girlfriend or their wife is using. So they feel more comfortable with an all black and silver packaging that's like says like Nivea for men or L'Oreal for men. But in reality, we all have the same
we do that too. I mean, I like a cute
for sure
girly packaging.
And listen, my packaging is cute, right?
I know.
And I'll have people come by and they say, oh, do you have something for men too? And I'm like, this is gender free. Yes, for sure. Some of my products might have pink or purple, but some of them are navy blue and some of them are white, you know? So it's just about fun packaging and something that has a personality, because I felt that in the market, you either had a brand that looked really fun, but the ingredients were not so good, not very active. It was just like fun looking. Or else you had brands that were great, like The Ordinary, that looks so clinical. It's like white and black and like very clean and neutral looking. And I wanted to marry that together. I wanted something that looked fun and had personality, but like is based on active ingredients and products that actually will help to transform your skin without the marketing, bullshit of saying, oh, you're gonna get rid of your wrinkles, you're gonna look 10 years younger. Like, I'm never gonna make claims like that. But I have all fantastic ingredients, no parabens, no phthalates, like clean skincare, and I'm doing that because there's no such thing as clean. There's no rules, but I try to not use any of the ingredients that Europe doesn't allow. I don't put fragrance into my product. I do have very sensitive skin, so I do all my own formulations, and I made sure that it's something that is good for all skin types, but especially someone who is more on the sensitive side.
How do you get inspired to not inspired, but how do you decide that this is the next product I'm going to do? I know you have a lot of inspiration from different cultures and different countries, but also from your own life. Tell me more about that.
I mean, I was a Sephora junkie, and I say was
we
because
all are.
Obviously I used to be Sephora Rouge and now I'm Sephora nothing because I have my own brand, right? And I'm like, primarily I do use my own products. Of course, I'm always testing and like looking at new stuff because it's like part of product development. I travel a lot to Asia, and like my boyfriend is Chinese, and I love like Asian culture, and so I've always been into like what's going on over there. And I was in South Korea, like I mentioned, and like an Olive Young is every 5 blocks, and I would go into every single one of them to see what's different. And I love skincare, and I love innovation. My education is product development, so I've always been that person of like any sort of product. I'm like, ooh, how could I make it better? Like, what could I do? So finding the right product to launch is definitely hard. I launched with pimple patches, and it took me, I think 11 months later, I finally launched my cleanser, which was step 1 in the 4-step routine. And then the other 3 followed within a month or so. but it takes a long time to test and to make sure that the product is right. It took me about a year or more just for the skincare routine. And everything that we launch needs to have a reason to live. Like I'm not like a huge brand that has like 20 different kinds of serums, and I want to keep it simple, and I don't want to like overwhelm my customer, and I want to make sure that everything that's on my table has a reason to be there, and it's not like just adding more product just for the sake of having product. So I have many products in testing phase right now. Like for instance, I probably have 10 things that are like in testing version like 3, version 4. My serum stick, which we will unveil a little bit later, that was about a year of testing, because the packaging, the formulation, the smell, on many different skin types, like super great skin, older skin, my own skin. My boyfriend has like perfect dolphin skin. Like one of my best friends was pregnant, so I also wanted to see.
What's a dolphin skin?
Like he just has the smoothest, most shiny, beautiful dolphin, just like soft and smooth. Like I'm so jealous, But he does use my products too, so I'm gonna say that my products is part of the reason. But he's just like, he's got perfect skin, and I don't have that, so like I'm jealous, like of course you're always jealous of someone who's just as perfectly like not red,
positively jealous.
Yeah, positively jealous, of course.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way at all. So I mean, my serum stick I launched because I do have a serum, but I didn't have something in the solid form. I really wanted something refillable, and that has a reason to live. And it also has bakuchiol, which is an all-natural retinol. So I'm like, okay, my other serum is my daily serum, and this is more targeted skin. So like everything has a reason why I'm going to launch it, because I'm an independent brand. I am self-funded. I don't have like, like daddy and mommy are not funding my dream. I'm like, I have my own money, so it's like every time I launch something, it's taking money and time away from my current products, right? So my next thing coming up before the fall is going to be my hand cream. It's that hand, body, and face multi-purpose cream.
Okay, waiting for that
one.
one.
it's really nice, and that's been like a year and a half in testing.
Okay. Being a small brand, it's very challenging in terms of what product to launch and things like that. But I also see with many people I work with or talk to that they somehow, if they want to scale or they want to grow their business, they feel like, oh my God, I need to have more and more product. And somehow I see that you're resisting that thing. Tell me more about that. Like, how are you able to stop yourself from launching 10,000 things at a time?
I mean, it's definitely quality over quantity for me. And, I have people have limited like attention spans when they're shopping online and when I'm doing markets in person. When you have too many things on your table, like they don't even know where to look. And I want everything to just have meaning. And I feel like, of course, I would love to launch like 10 more products, but I also, as a business, only have so much bandwidth. And I think it's really important to grow your hero products and grow like what you're known for. And then in time, you start to see really what is selling and what's working. And if you launch everything all at once, how could you really figure out what works, And my top 2 products now are my serum and my moisturizer from my routine. Like,
surprisingly, it's not the pimple patches.
Yeah, pimple patches is in the top 5. And pimple patches helped me to gain the trust with people. Because people saw like, wow, your patches actually work. Like, wow, it's amazing. And I'm like, well, yeah, because there's like 2 active ingredients. And that instilled trust in the customer. Then when I launched the skincare, they're like, ooh, they'll buy one step of the routine because maybe they already have some existing products. And I'm never promoting overconsumption. I'd rather them like finish what you have at home. Here's my card. Think about like a Canadian local brand when you're ready to rebuy. And then they'll try one product and they're like, wow, I loved your cleanser. Okay, I'm going to get the moisturizer and the toner now. And it's like, slowly you gain that trust of the customer. And I have like subscriptions now on my website. I have people who like in a year have like spent $1,500. And I reached out to a customer.
Weirdo Rouge instead of Sephora.
Yeah, exactly. I am working on a loyalty program. I had a customer who she just buys so much every month. And so I sent her a message and I said, I want to give you my new serum.
How does that person use all this every month?
I guess like maybe she's heavy handed with like how much moisturizer she uses. But I reached out to her and I told her, I just want to thank you for your support as a small brand. It means a lot. And I gifted her the serum stick. I wanted her to try it before I launched it. And she told me that she's, in her 50s and she's had acne for 40 years.
Wow.
And my products have transformed her skin.
Wow.
And she's like, I love your product so much. And I'm so thankful because I've suffered from acne for 40 years. Not that I'm an acne specific brand, but just in general, like the cleansing, the ingredients, everything has like really transformed her skin. And I'm like,
amazing.
it's like, what better feedback can you hear from someone that they're like, I feel so much better about myself. I have my self-care moment. Like I've started taking care of my skin, and my boyfriend noticed, and now I have this moment to myself where I do this for myself because I feel good. People are noticing it, and like nothing can be better than that, right?
So. You mentioned pop-ups, and I've been to one of your pop-ups. I see that you do a lot of them, and I'm not sure, but I feel that that's part of your strategy.
Oh, yeah.
That's how people discover you.
Yeah.
There's a new trend also of doing things like more in real life.
Yeah.
Meeting people in real life rather than social media, especially with Gen Z and, the younger generation. The younger generation. We're not that old, but you know what I mean?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I was born in 2007.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But tell me more about the strategy. Like I see you put more effort into these
in-person activations, like whatever, if you want to use marketing jargon.
As opposed to what's happening on social media.
Well, I mean, with something like skincare, it's like super important for someone to like try it on their skin, to smell it, to touch it, to see the packaging in real life. And I love connecting with people and like talking about product, right? So this was the best way for me to get feedback from people, to like slowly evolve my brand, my messaging. And if you're just doing it online and social media, you're not having that interaction with real people.
Yeah.
And nothing is better than like really talking to people and getting that feedback one-on-one, and to also for them to fully understand your brand. Like online, you're looking on a website, right? Like, but when you're in person, you're seeing me, you're seeing my passion, you're seeing like, I don't know, like the tablecloth, the stand, the everything is there. So you kind of have like a feeling for the brand. I call it my skincare bodega, like my booth setup, because you come and I have like little walls, and like it looks like you're like literally in a mini boutique. And I think that's really helped me to like refine my messaging and my branding and really get like fantastic feedback from people. And also a lot of times those people will then go online after to place reorders and stuff like that. So I know that those in-person events have really helped me to grow my my customer base. And I don't do online advertising, but I have a decent, e-commerce sales, or my sales are pretty decent for someone who's not doing ads. And I love talking to people. I'm not social like in my day-to-day life, but I'm social when I'm talking about my products, so.
And you also created, like you said, the bodega, and like it's this Weirdoverse.
It's an experience.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
People get it. And you even have like special cute things that you do, like in was it Salon de la Femme? Yeah, my skincare arcade machine. Like it gives me the opportunity to do something fun where like I imported a big machine where I have little prizes like rolling around, and people are like trying to win it. And it's just like, it creates a vibe, and it creates like...
Send me that video or a picture, so we'll put it somewhere
awesome.
here.
Yeah, I will.
So that they see what we're talking about.
So yeah, it's just, it's a great way of figuring things out. Yeah.
And I also noticed if somebody buys from your pop-up event, it's all linked to like your Shopify store, and then I get the notification on my shop app, and then there's like a whole thing that's linked together. I get that email, I get that thing. It's not like this is in person, so I'm paying and then I'm getting a receipt, and then there's no interaction after that.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you linked all of it together. Tell me more about how you planned all of that also.
I mean, the thing is I've been participating in a lot of really great pop-up markets like Montreal Makers Market and Collective Creatif. And these are markets that have 30,000 plus followers. They have their own, fan base. So it's a great way of like extra marketing. Like you can market all you want, but now I also have an event marketing me, and a lot of people will come and say, oh, I saw you in like the post from like Montreal Makers Market. And like I started stalking your feed, and for online, I've built flows in Klaviyo, like to make sure that like, when a customer joins my mailing list, they get the welcome, they start to understand a bit about the brand, what we're about, our values. little reminders to like reorder and say thank you.
So if we talk about tactical, we rarely do this on the podcast, but if we go very like technical, your website is on Shopify.
Yes.
And in real life, it's whatever they pay, it's linked to your... It's linked.
So I have a Shopify POS. So like when they check out, like most of the time, if they've ever shopped on Shopify with any other brand, it knows, like it automatically knows that they have a shop app, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because then it goes straight, the receipt goes to their shop app and their email is now part of my ecosystem. So I have a way of like keeping in contact with them. Which is fantastic because that's what you want.
Shopify always.
I love Shopify. I've been working with Shopify for like 15 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm even a Shopify partner because I just think it's like a fantastic ecosystem and you can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
You know?
Agree. And then your Shopify is linked to Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Which is an email marketing platform. And there you created all those workflows and automations so that you're always... I'm talking always to your people.
Exactly. Like I haven't actually done email marketing where I'm like sending out email blasts, like buy this. Like that just doesn't seem very me. And I'm sure eventually I will try to do transactional emails. It's more about just having flows set up so that like if they place a purchase, that they're going to remind them in 45 days to reorder. It'll remind them to leave a review because obviously reviews are really important for a brand. And I've now passed 100 reviews, 4.9 stars. So that's good. Like that's amazing. Yeah. And it's like building for the future because as I grow, you know, I will want to do marketing emails and stuff like that. And I'm not there yet because I prefer to have a more like organic connection. But I know that in the future that will be super important for me. So I collect this SMS, I collect the email, and one day I will activate that.
Okay, so good. Speaking of your strategy of doing real life activations as opposed to, you still do social media, but you do it less than, like your main focus is on these activations. Did you do this on purpose or it just happened and you're like, let me capitalize on what's happening in these markets?
I mean, there's so much out there on websites and it's so hard to get someone's attention. When I'm at a market, I'm like one of 80 brands and I have a setup with like, you know, neon lights and like everything's hologram that it's like very eye-catching. So someone will walk around or, you know, I'll even have other brands say, oh my God, I've been staring at your table the whole show. Like, I love it. Like, so I know how to get someone's attention and it's a lot easier to do that in person than it is online where like people are just scrolling on their phone for 2 seconds and it's like, I could spend $500 to do a video and someone spends 2 seconds on it. But, you know, I'll spend like whatever, $200 to do an event and people are stopping at my booth, you know, and that has just worked. Like most of my sales, you know, at least 75% of my sales are from the in-person events. So I'm like, okay, the numbers speak and I need to continue to do it. And
being a smaller brand without like the crazy big budgets for ads and, you know, content creation and all of those things. So maybe...
Yeah, it's more worth it to spend money at an event for me than it is to, you know, I tried doing ads for 3 months, didn't really result in much and resulted in like one order. And, you know, I am doing social media videos now. Like I hired like a girl who's helping me with videos and like the videos are starting to get like almost 10K views. So it's starting to work and I know that it's important, but I can't like forget about these like in-person events because that is really like my bread and butter.
You were doing some funny things on social media. I was seeing like the cake, sitting on a cake and doing things like that.
You know, like we're trying to mix, have a nice mix between trend videos and like videos where you're learning about the brand, the ingredients. We're going to drop a new series soon called Spill the Ingredient Tea. And it's like just talking about every product and the ingredients behind it and why we chose it because I do want to have a mix between that. And I just don't want to be like 100% TikTok videos where it's just like chasing every single trend because we are a serious brand and really I'm about skincare. But yeah, you got to mix the two together. You got to still have fun.
Can we?
Yeah.
Just so you see, it starts from here. Weirdoverse.
Welcome to the Weirdoverse. That's what I call my little community is the Weirdoverse. Everyone is welcome.
We love this. This feels like, you know, like a food.
So
food bag.
Everything we do, we try to be as eco and sustainable as possible.
It's like it has this foil thing, like a food. Can we use it for food?
Yeah, you can. That's why, like, I didn't want to just choose a bag that someone was going to throw away or was going to, like, maybe get wet and then they're going to break.
Yeah.
This was really designed so that you could use it as your lunch bag after. You could use it for many other things, and it really, truly made it sustainable.
Just so you know, this is so cute.
That's actually my 3 new flavors of lip glaze that launched this weekend. So I launched banana milk, strawberry matcha, and lemon roll cake, which joins
I'm gonna try it now.
my vanilla softie and my OG non-flavored. And then this is I'm super proud. That's my refillable.
So this is the actual product, and this one is the
refill. Yeah.
I've never seen like a stick. The refillable stick. I see refillable like a liquid or a powder for like foundation things, but I've never seen this.
So I could proudly say that I'm the first Canadian skincare brand with a refillable serum stick, and I just really wanted to be as eco as possible. And I know that there's like pros and cons to refills, but I believe a lot in the product, and I wanted to have, I really wanted to have something refillable and more sustainable.
Yeah. Which one should I try?
I mean,
not the banana.
A banana milk is my favorite.
Yeah,
because it reminds me of like childhood, of like, banana runts and like the banana marshmallow candy. But strawberry matcha was a favorite at the last event that I just did this weekend.
What about the lemon?
And the lemon roll cake is like a mix of like lemon and condensed milk, like very like cheesecakey almost in a way.
What do we do? Not the banana.
Okay,
that's for sure. Which one?
I say do the strawberry matcha.
Let's do it. So I've never had like a lip gloss or anything that comes in such a packaging.
So this is made from sugar cane, so we don't use any virgin plastics.
Really?
So we're trying to be like sustainable. It's easy to recycle after versus, a box is, you're using some trees, but it's easier to transport. It's easy to like hang up on the board. And
I love it. Cosmic healing.
So lip glaze has got shea butter, carrot oil, 2 different kinds of peptides.
Wait, it just I have my lipstick, so I ruined it.
So you look up.
It's yummy.
It's yummy. Okay, good. A lot of people ask like, who do you compare to? And I would say like, a brand that we look up to is Rhode, and because I love what they've done. They're obviously like much more millennial and clean and clean girl aesthetic, which is not us. But in terms of the ingredients, they have a peptide lip glaze. Obviously, they have a peptide lip balm, and theirs is like maybe $8 more expensive than mine and has 2 ml less. So I look at
this one.
I look at what people are doing, and I'm like, I want to either improve on it or I want to give more bang for your buck, more value, and
okay. It's more liquid. I don't have the Rhode lip balm.
Okay.
I have like more of the blushes and
things
like that.
The blush is nice.
But I don't know if it's the same texture, but this is more like a liquid.
Yeah, this is a little bit, it's not as like thick as the balm, so it spreads very easily.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So cool. Can I open this?
Yeah, open that.
I know it's like we're not talking business, but I'm like skincare.
We're talking product.
I'm a skincare person. I have a lot of skincare. Ooh. Okay. So tell me more. Let's just talk and test at the same time. Okay. I get it.
So this has got glycerin. It has cloudberry extract, niacinamide, rice extract. It has lots of great soothing properties. It makes your skin feel like butter, but most importantly, it's powered by 2% bakuchiol. So bakuchiol is like similar to retinol. It comes from flowers. It has all the pros of retinol, but what's great about it is it's not UV sensitive. So where retinol, you should be using it at night and then making sure you're using a lot of extra sunscreen the next day. This is safe to use during the day. Okay. It won't make you...
Can I use it as someone in my 40s?
Yes, of course. It's actually my first targeted skincare product. Okay. So what it does is it'll help reduce dark spots. It'll help reduce fine lines. It's really made for more targeted skin, it's like that would be the first product that I would not sell to a 20-year-old, and I would say you should maybe go with my holy grail. This is great. I've had testers who said they've been using it on their neck and it helped to reduce some necklines. So it's really made for fine lines and dark spots. Yeah. And it will give you like absolutely buttery skin.
Pretty amazing. So tell me more about how you plan for the future. You started with the pimple patches. You started adding all of these products, and now you have like a targeted product. This is more like for someone with more mature skin, or like 30s and 40s, let's say. What's next for you? Like, how are you going to evolve this brand? Did you think about it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, my next phase is really to get more into wholesale. I have currently, like, I'm in 15 stores between Canada and US.
Oh, where? Tell us more.
I'm in some stores in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Alberta, New Brunswick, Seattle, Miami. So I really want to grow my wholesale like network. So I'm actually doing my first wholesale show this September at the Palais des Congrès. So I'm really excited to kind of like broaden my wholesale network, because I really want a healthy, mix between e-commerce, wholesale, in-person. So that way, like, I could potentially do less in-person events, because there's some that are obviously better than others.
Yes.
But sometimes I'll do them all to try them all, and I would love maybe to like grow wholesale so that I could like concentrate more on, working on new product and stuff. So that's like my next phase. And I feel like I have a good group of products right now to grow my wholesale. So I feel like that's like really my next thing.
Are you going to be in Sephora?
Sephora, I love it, but it could like make it or break you. And like if you don't have a huge marketing, but like just because you're in Sephora doesn't mean people are going to come and buy it. So if I don't have money to put behind that, I don't think that it's the smartest decision for me now. I have talked with someone at Sephora. I've talked to someone at Pharmaprix, for instance. I feel like maybe something more local is better for me, where you have more one-on-one time with the customer. Like the store is more specialized. And like whether it's like a spa or an aesthetic place that where they could actually discuss the product with the customer. And I feel like Sephora would be amazing to say I'm in Sephora, but I don't want to do that and fail.
There's a rise in Korean skincare. There's a lot of Korean skincare stores that are opening here in the city. Yeah. They're also at Sephora. There's so many brands that are at Sephora. Is this affecting your brand, your market in any way?
So we are Korean skincare inspired.
Yes.
That's where a lot of my inspiration,
I see
a lot of my ingredients. And I have people who walk by the show sometimes and ask me, "Are you a Korean skincare brand?" Which I take as a compliment, because it means I look like put together, and I look who I want to be next to, and that gives me the opportunity to say, no, I'm actually a Canadian brand, but we are, Korean ingredient inspired. And I think the fact that Korean skincare has picked up here is actually a good thing, because people are familiar. Oh, niacinamide. Oh, I know that. Oh, people are more familiar with the ingredients, and like people know what bakuchiol is when they wouldn't have known like maybe 3 years ago. And the pimple patches, even like people knew Starface. So Starface did a lot of the work for me, where I didn't have to explain, what is this? What is this? And like, they're like, oh, it's like Starface pimple patches. So although I didn't love obviously being compared, but they knew what it was, and I didn't have to like go through and explain what the product was, which is sometimes the hardest thing about launching a new kind of product, right? You have to education of the customer costs a lot. The Korean skincare stores, I've tried to like maybe even talk to a few, but they really just want actual Korean brands. Yeah. A lot of people are confused. Like there's so many products in Korean skincare, so many steps that like people are like, I don't know where to start. That's what inspired me to like do my routine, to like go do my research, to see the huge amount of products and like take that down and like come up with a simple routine for people to understand and know like, okay, I wash my face, I tone it, I serum, I moisturize it. So
it's very simple.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who wants to create a skincare brand? It's a category that's very, very difficult, and you somehow managed to succeed.
Yeah.
As a Canadian, which is which doesn't happen very often, let's say, what would you say to someone who like inspires to have something like skincare for Weirdos?
I would say good luck. I'm fortunate that I have a lot of experience. Like, I worked in fashion for 25 years and like marketing, design, creative direction, and I have the ability to do everything on my own. I design my own artwork. I design my own website. I do my own sourcing, my own production. Like I don't outsource anything to anyone other than photography, where I have someone taking the photos, but I'm directing the the shoot. So it costs a lot of money to launch a company. And I see like, things on Instagram, oh, it costs like $1 million to launch a brand. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't have $1 million. I had nowhere close to that. So unless you have the right skills, it could cost a lot, because then you're going to have to hire a marketing agency. You're going to have to hire a branding agency. You're going to have to hire someone to do your website. And unless maybe you partner with someone who has those skills, it can be really costly, And I think that when you have money, you're no longer like scrappy, and it's too easy to spend that money on things that maybe like you should like hold back on. But when you have money, you're like, oh yeah, I have money, so I'll spend $10,000 on like branding, and I'll spend this. And I feel like it's so easy to like just deplete all that money. So I mean, if someone wants to launch their own brand, do a lot of research, try to learn some skills so that you are able to take on some of those tasks yourself without having to rely on other people who, everyone has a business. So if you're going to go to a branding agency, of course they're going to give you a quote of $10,000 to $15,000. And most people say, I love your branding, you're like your aesthetic, everything's amazing. Like I did that all myself. I know this would have cost well over 10, 15, 20K if I went to an agency and said, come up with a brand and start designing all my packaging and start doing this. Like all of this, it costs a lot of money. Websites, I've done freelance. I'm charging people $2-3K USD to do a website. Yeah. So that saved me that money, like, and I think having those skills yourself has really been beneficial, Yeah.
Speaking of money, and this is like the final chapter in this episode, you financed everything yourself until today?
Yeah.
So 0 loans, 0 funding, 0 investors.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you plan on doing some rounds of fundraising?
I mean, I have people who reach out to me. I actually have a meeting next week with Unilever Investments. They reached out to me and want to talk about the brand.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. No idea whether it'll go anywhere, but I got their attention, which is kind of like, a compliment to myself. I'm like, sure, potentially. I did, apply to Dragon's Den, and I'm open to exploring that.
Okay.
But I don't want to give up any control, and I don't want a board of people who have no experience in skincare or understanding, the Weirdoverse to tell me what I should do, and it's something that I would entertain, but I would have to like really, really. So
it has to be aligned with the values of yourself and your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've managed to just put in a little bit of my own money, and then with sales, using those sales to like launch new products. And I have obviously a business credit card and a business line of credit, but it's very minimal amount that's on there. It's just sometimes you need to pay for a show in advance and stuff like that. So I don't really have debt, and I'm really doing everything myself. Because when you have debt, you start doing desperate things.
Yes.
Right? And so it's true. Like, I don't want to make a decision based on the fact that I have to pay a bill. I want to make the decision that's right for my business. Yeah.
I love it. I hope that skincare for weirdos is going to grow and become the next road. And I hope you're going to have $1 billion exit.
Yeah,
like
that would be
Hailey
amazing.
Bieber,
that would be amazing.
All of that. Thank you so much, Reese. This was such a pleasure. I love the product. And I'll see you all next week with a new episode.